Hello guys, welcome to my Cambridge English First, that's B2 First, or FCE exam video course. In this lesson we're going to be focusing on the course format of the speaking paper, so that's what are you going to learn in the next few lessons throughout this video course. So firstly I'd just like to tell you a bit about the general information about the exam. So there are 4 papers in the FCE exam. There's the reading and use of English paper, although these are like 2 different sections, but they're put into one paper, and so that counts for 40%. Then you have the listening, which is 20%, the writing, which is 20%, and the speaking, which is 20%. And you might want to pause this video now to have a read of these in a bit more detail, but we're going to continue and have a look at what we're going to do in the speaking course. So, how long is the speaking section in total? It is about 15 minutes long. How many parts are there in the speaking paper? There are 4 parts. And how many questions are there? There are no set number of questions. The number of questions can change. So, let's have a look at the types of questions in the speaking paper in more detail. So, in part 1 of the speaking paper, you have what is similar to an interview. So the examiner will ask you some general questions about yourself, your family, etc. Part 2 is called the long turn, and in this part you have some photographs and you have to talk about these photographs on your own. Part 3 is called the collaborative task, and this is where you talk with a partner, another candidate, about one topic, and you have some useful ideas to help with this discussion. And part 4 is a discussion with the examiner and with the other candidate related to the topics in part 3. So let's have a look in a bit more detail at each of these sections. Part 1, the interview. How long is part 1? Part 1 lasts about 2 minutes, so that means you have about 1 minute talking time for each person. Do you do part 1 individually? No, you actually do it with 1 or 2 other candidates. So the examiner might ask you a question, but then the next question they will probably ask to the other candidate. In this part, the examiner asks you general questions about your likes, dislikes, friends, family, etc. This interview section is designed to help you feel more comfortable in the exam and to make you feel comfortable speaking. The examiners look for your range of vocabulary, so the variety of vocabulary that you use, and they look for your interaction abilities with the other candidates. How well you can speak to another person. And the key for the speaking paper, and particularly part 1 of the speaking paper, the most important thing is to expand your answers as much as possible. So to talk a lot. And a good way to talk a lot is to ask yourself why. Why am I saying this? Why did I say that? Part 2, the long term. How many photographs do you need to talk about in this part? 2 photographs. And how long do you need to talk about them for? 1 minute. You need to talk continuously about 2 photographs for a total of 1 minute. And do you do anything else? Yes. When your other candidate, who is doing the exam with you, is talking about their photographs, you need to listen to what that person is saying, because when they finish, the examiner will ask you a question about your partner's photographs. And you need to talk for about 30 seconds when you are answering this question about your partner's photographs. Part 3, the collaborative task. How long is part 3? It lasts for about 2 or 3 minutes, which means you have about 1 minute talking time for each person. Do you do it by yourself, individually? No. You do it with one other candidate normally, but sometimes there may be 3 of you. There may be 3 candidates, but normally it's just 2 candidates, you and one other. How many topics do you need to talk about? Just one main important topic. But you are given 5 ideas to help you talk about this one topic. So you have one topic, but 5 helpful ideas to talk about this topic. And again, in this section, the examiners are looking for your range of vocabulary. So they're looking to see a lot of vocabulary, as well as your interaction abilities with the other candidates. How well you can have a conversation with another person in English is very important. Part 4, discussion. What do you do in part 4? The examiner asks you questions which are connected to the topic from part 3. The examiner might ask you a question, or they might ask your partner a question. And can you respond to what your partner says? Yes, you can. So if your partner says something, you can also add to that or respond to that. So this part of the exam is not completely individual, but you are doing this part 4, with the other candidate and with the examiner, like a discussion. Okay, and here's a very quick tip for you before we end this video lesson. You should try to speak as much as you can. The more you speak, the more language you show, the better marks you will get in the exam. And in the next lesson, we're going to be focusing on part 1, the interview. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video lesson.